as somebody who has dealt with horrific workplace like trauma, how do you how do you let me go back. So as somebody who myself, I have also dealt with some workplace trauma. I felt like it jaded me. So when there were safe spaces, I could not see them. So what is your advice for somebody who possibly is in a traumatic situation or just leaving it? How do they recognize where, oh, that person is a safe space for me?
So that's the hard part, right? And the recognition is, how do you know? How do I know? For me, myself, I always had a weird thing when I worked in corporate America. I wouldn't trust anyone until they shared their business with me.
Okay.
They had to share something that would get them fired for me to
Mm,
trust them and feel that, okay, maybe this woman, this sister, this brother could be my, pseudo safe space, because we know that it's still work and people will out you if it depends on them keeping their job, if that's
mm,
what's going to get them to keep their job. So I would say that's one technique that I used. And when I talk about your safe space at work, I'm more so talking about within yourself
mm,
and understanding what's going on with you, validating yourself, validating your experiences so that you're like, okay, I'm not crazy. Because when you read in the book, I talk about how I thought I was damaged goods.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
literally thought I was damaged goods at one point because I could not find a space where I was safe. Like every job I had, literally every job, there was something. And so I had to find my safe space within myself. If that's during lunch, if that's when I took my breaks, because when you work in corporate, there's no break unless you are a smoker, right? You're a
Sadly.
smoker, you could take 18 breaks a day, right? But if you're
Mm-hmm,
not a smoker, they come looking for you.
mm-hmm.
And so if you could take your breaks, I would go in the bathroom and find a stall in the back and just rest, like literally close my eyes and just take a moment if I had to cry.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that's how you find your safe space. And then sometimes your safe space is really leaving, be it a leave of absence. I was the queen of LOA. Okay. I don't think I made it past a year and a half on any job I've ever been on.
Mm-hmm.
I was going LOA because I just couldn't leave of absence. I just couldn't take it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So for those sisters that are just like, I can't take it, I need a safe space. Honestly, I talk about it in the book. You find your safe space in yourself, in your village. It may not be at your job.
Yeah.
It may not be at your job, and it might determine that you develop a strategy
Yeah.
to exit.
Yeah, for sure. I was just thinking about as you were talking, my husband was in a really toxic situation. And because we spend so much time at our jobs, like most of us are working 40, 50, 60 plus hours, you start to think that you are the problem and not them. And as an outsider in that situation, looking into the situation, I could see that it clearly was not him. They were asking him to do the job of three people. It is impossible. So he internalized all of the stuff, right? And I felt that for him, he lost the safe space within himself. And I think you made the really great point that sometimes it's going to be external. Like your village is going to have to come in and you let them in as to what's going on, and they have to support you and hold you up because it is hard. It does a number on your self-esteem.
I promise you, Cassandra, people that saw me then, even when I look at pictures of myself when I was at my last job, and versus now, people will say, "Oh, you look so happy. You look so beautiful. You look this." And I say, "You know what? The same face. My face hasn't changed,
Mm-hmm.
right? The difference is my black isn't cracking on the inside right now,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the black that does crack. I'm almost 50. You can't tell,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the inside felt like 80.
Right. Yeah, they
Like
break your
I felt like I
spirit.
was an old woman. Yes, I felt like I was an
Yeah.
old woman that just could not survive. And so now I have replenished myself, my black, with meditation, praying, clearing my head, removing toxic things from my space, all those sorts of things. So now you see my skin glowing, you see me smiling. Like it's easy for me to smile now. Whereas before, people tell me, why do you always have this grimace? I'm miserable.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
literally, like, people telling Black women, you should smile. Stop telling Black women to smile. We are tired.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
So in the book, I talk about validation, encouragement, and elevation. V is the methodology. And just to kind of give you the backstory so then I can then answer that question. I was talking to my book coach and I was like, Black women deserve validation, encouragement, and elevation professionally. That's what we deserve. We deserve it every day because everyone else gets it.
Mm-hmm.
And so validation is important because it says you are truthful in every experience that you have. Everything that you're experiencing, that you say you're experiencing, is exactly what you're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
No one can shame you. No one can tell you otherwise. Because see, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, how I said I thought I was damaged goods.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one was validating how I feel. And what does people say? What is like the thing, right? They'll say, if you experience the same thing multiple places, then you're the problem. People
Right.
like to say that. To me, that's one of the laziest statements because that is not a fact. When you're a Black person and the world is set up to harm you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, why would we think that if every black woman is experiencing bad things that means that Black women are the problem? Are we really gonna say that?
Nope.
I'm in
Data
this
says
space.
otherwise. Mm-hmm.
I'm in this Facebook group for Black women in tech because my last job I worked in IT, and because I told you I wanted to be a VP, so I need to know how all the systems worked. I had worked in business, I worked in this, I worked in that. The only thing I had mastered was IT. And I was like, I need to understand IT because I become a big asset. And so I joined this Facebook group. And so recently they asked, how many of you are loving your job? So all these women are like, oh, I love my job. I love my job. And I was like, y'all playing. So I went and I said, the question we need to ask is, how many of you have been on your job and are past the honeymoon phase and still love your job?
Mm.
That's under that. That's when they started saying, preach, tell the truth. One woman said, I loved my job until I saw both of my coworkers' faces. And then another woman said, I prefer the honeymoon phase, but it's been over for a long time.
Mm.
So if the majority of Black women and you are correct, Catalyst came out with that wonderful document where they talk about the darker your skin, the more likely you are to deal with racism at work and workplace abuse. The curlier or kinkier your hair is, the more likely you are. The more Afrocentric the features you have, they will make you a fixture where they're like, oh my God, your lips, your nose, your
Mm-hmm.
eyes, and they'll love on you and make you feel like you are a piece of meat, or they will hate you and be like, oh my God, your nose, or why do you keep
Mm-hmm.
getting your hair done 18 different ways every other month? You know what I'm saying? So it's like you become this thing, and it's like, can I just come in and do my job? So
Right.
that's why validation is important because it's like, yes, sis, they are throwing microaggressions at you. That is what you're dealing with. So you know what? What I need you to start doing is taking a moment and looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I am beautiful. I
Mm-hmm.
am everyone's desire.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to look at me. Look at all these women running around looking like Bratz dolls. They're trying to get my features
Mm-hmm.
and it's not working. But look at me, I was naturally born with them. I'm beautiful. I'm smart. I have 18 degrees. I have no degrees. I have all the experience in the world.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different things that we can make ourselves safe and loving, continue to love ourselves. Because what always happens is we start not to love ourselves. This woman on LinkedIn said she almost lost her life because of her job.
Oof.
This is serious.
And there was that one professor just a few weeks ago who
Yes,
did,
and
and
killed
her
herself.
story, oh man, that story was so heartbreaking because she went to ask for help. We,
She wanted to
generally
go on leave
speaking,
of absence.
yep, we generally do not ask for help. So if we ask our boss for help, for assistance in what we're facing, that means it is dire. And they left her hanging. So
Let me tell you
sad.
something about that really quickly. I went to HR and they met with me. every other week after I sound the alarm and was like, basically, y'all are trash. The VP of HR met with me every week. Once I got smart and I got out of my fog, I was like, she's meeting with me to write down everything I'm saying so that if I come back with a case, they have my case. And so I stopped meeting with her and I sent her a letter requesting a severance of 1 year and 2 months. They offered me 2 weeks.
2 weeks severance? Yeah, stop playing.
2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks.